Commissioner Tebow.
Here.
Commissioner Christianchi.
Here.
Commissioner Woodard.
Here.
And Commissioner Shaw.
Yeah.
All present and accounted for. Which one am I looking at? This one. Agenda item number 1, Mike Carter, who's not here, but a letter is here. The certificate of substantial completion for fish number 088047. Seems like reading the letter that there's a lot of finger pointing.
I thought the same thing.
Agreed.
And it's like, how do we know whose fingers are pointing in the right direction here?
I don't know. He did offer to come to another board meeting. It was short notice, so he did opt to put this letter together for the board, but he's more than willing to come to next month's meeting if you're more comfortable with that. There is a lot of finger pointing going on, some of it at the authority, which I thought was kind of interesting because it's really not us. So
Right. It was all different directions, and if you're going to assume a contract for someone, it was who was it that he said he took over for?
Rico.
Yes, when he picked up, here it is, due diligence, especially if somebody's letting go of something because they can't handle it. Due diligence would be to backtrack and make sure what they have done to that point is reliable and up to code before you move forward with your own plans. And I saw excuses and not that. I was not satisfied that was done.
I was, I guess, a little bit confused. I thought the reason we didn't do the certificate of substantial completion was there was a long list of work that needed to be done. And then in this letter, he's saying there is a lot of work that needs to be done, but it's all in the change orders, which is completely different than what I thought. I thought it was just contract work that they weren't able to do, or they did do, and it wasn't to the specification, so they had to redo it.
Mm-hmm. They did do some of that.
And now this is saying, no, we've got to do some stuff. It's all change orders.
The change orders, and then there are minor punch list orders, grass, making sure the grass came in the spring, which will come up to. They already reshot some of the grades and infrareded some of the walkways. The railings are up. There are more railings than we even needed. Why they're all up, I don't know exactly. They explained that we needed them due to the grade. And other than that, it's mostly the change orders.
Remember in the substantial completion on the punch list, they had removing ramps and replacing them.
Yes, they did not do that. They infrareded them, and the ones...
What's infrared mean? I'm sorry.
It's when they re-level the pavement with, an infrared guy comes in with the infrared camera, they heat it up and they re-level the pavement.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah, and then the other ones, that they couldn't get the grades on, they put up rails. That's why there are extra railings.
Okay. So it's still a little bit, to me, they want substantial completion, but have large change orders.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that before.
I agree.
Usually the change orders are done a long time before part becomes out of the contract, and once we approve them or don't approve them, they do the work and come back for substantial completion.
Yeah, and there are some big ones. The fire trucks in town are too big to make the corner was interesting to me.
Yeah, I did. Did the fire department tell them that? They couldn't make
No, the
corner?
maintenance has talked to the fire department. They've seen them try to make the corner. They can't make the corner with the apparatus. And they wind up going over the lawn. And, I mean, they got to do what they got to do, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a tight corner up at the 8, 9, 10 area.
Mm-hmm. And what's that supposed to be addressed?
Yes, that's in one of the change orders.
I do see that, but
Yeah.
were the original specifications so that they were...
They should have been able to make that corner in the original specifications. And he said in his letter that he used an actual
37 by 8.5
Yeah.
foot.
Yeah, some
But
width
I-
of the truck or something.
39
Then
yeah,
he
they
goes
don't
on
get
to
that.
say that, yeah, they should be
Yeah.
able to do that, they can't
Yeah.
drive.
But what was his source of information for that size of the truck? Did he confirm it with the Easton Fire Department?
No, I think they
No?
just go with the standard size that architects would use.
Not doing the due
I mean, the only
diligence.
thing I can say that may have been partly us was we decided that it was probably a good idea to put in a walkway at the gazebo. There was no walkway, and people were walking over the lawn, and we had said to them, can you put in the walkway right there, which they did. And in order to do that, they brought the level up. So there is a ponding going on by the gazebo. That's from what they're saying, not a major fix, but something we should address because we don't want mosquitoes and whatnot in the summertime. Everything else, I mean,
That
that's.
doesn't cover the issues of ramp exceeds design grade, you know? Somebody's not paying attention to the engineering here, not doing their job,
Well, that's
not
what you
following
pay an
code.
architect for. They're supposed to pay attention to that, is my theory. Now, and to defend him slightly, he is a very good architect. He's been very responsive. He did come in the middle of this. There were two other architects involved in this before he came into it. One of them being a DHCD employee who came and walked the property with us. And he was under pressure to get the job moving because it had been sitting around for so long when they were working on it.
Okay. I guess my, regardless of what the change orders are, and the legitimacy of them are, being asked to certify to substantial completion. And that's why we before said, you know, it just doesn't seem like it's substantially complete.
Agreed?
So is there, I mean, there must be money behind this. If we vote that it's substantially completed, some money goes to someone.
Mm-hmm. Well, not yet. We haven't received another bill yet. We've only paid them one bill.
Substantial completion doesn't say you're
Yeah,
gonna give them
it
any
starts the
additional
warranty
money.
ticking.
Final completion, you release the retainage.
Yeah,
Well, I thought substantial had some retainage to it also. Okay.
yeah, no, it
They
doesn't.
can ask for a portion of retainage to be released at substantial if they think that final is going to be so far out.
They have not asked for that.
Yeah.
We've
So-
only issued one payment to them for $137,000, I believe it was, off the top of my head. I might be a little off on that. And that's the only money they've received so far, Cassidy. And Cassidy's been good. They've been following design.
So Sean signed off on the substantial completion,
He reluctantly signed off on that.
reluctantly, in what
Yes,
way?
because he said he's not supposed to sign off on it before the board, and I had said that the board was pretty adamant that you sign off on this before the board signs off on it.
Yes, it should, when his signature comes through, it doesn't carry the weight of, legal weight, it's a recommendation. He's saying, I'm recommending that this step, based upon my expertise. Why would, if once we vote on it, it's a legal vote, why do we need his vote? Or his signature? Other than to say we voted, can you do that? And
It's just dotting all the i's and crossing
Yeah.
all the t's.
I've never run into that before either. Usually the construction advisor signs off on it before he presents it to a board, because they're the professional.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to certify basically to us that they recommend signing substantial completion.
So it says on the original, remove and regrade sidewalk 6671, building 7, one location. Was that done? Remove and regrade sidewalk?
I believe that was infrared.
That was infrared.
There's so many walkways up there, Tom, I'll be honest, I can't keep them straight. Like I said, Mike Carter would be more than happy to come to the next board meeting if you're more comfortable with that.
So what I'd like to see this original punch list that we questioned? That, we go through and they say, yes, this has been done, this has been done, this has been done. Because that, whether it was remove and regrade, or if they infrareded it and
Yep.
regraded it that way, methods and means is up to them.
Okay.
So yeah, we want to see an accounting of what's remaining on the punch list.
And then we can talk about change orders.
Well, I do have a question on one of the change orders, that there's What is the age of the gutters that are there that they're suggesting? One of the options is to replace.
They're not very old.
They're not very old.
They're not. They were done prior to me being here. I'm not sure how many years ago, but they're not very old. The problem is when Cassidy Corp went out to try to get somebody to just remove the middle gutters, patch the gutter and just have the drainage run to the end of the buildings, most gutter people will not do that. They won't back it. They're saying the patches may not hold. They're advising to remove and replace.
On option A, it says, old screw holes to be filled in, no guarantee on leaks. That jumps out at me. It's so
Because nobody will
unprofessional.
guarantee that. That's what, Cassidy won't do the work. That's not what they do. They're trying to find contractors to come in as a sub for them to do the repairs, to change it. No contractor is gonna guarantee that those patches are gonna hold.
Yeah.
If they patch the gutter and run it. So they're advising that if you want some, first, they can't even get anybody to come in to do that. They're advising us to do all new gutters.
Can they find people that are willing to do the new gutters?
Yes, because that's more of an expensive job.
Well, and also it's then guaranteed.
Yeah, we even gave them the name of the people who did the gutters originally. I can't remember the contractor that was up there that did it off the top of my head. It was shortly before I came here. The gutters are probably 5 or 6 years old.
All right, so if we were to go with option B and replace the gutters for $21,000, where's that money coming from?
That's a good question. Probably
So is that gonna come out of, is there any formula funding money or change order money? Usually they do set aside some.
I have not talked to Sean about that because this has been so up in the air. And this, they haven't actually submitted formal change orders yet.
Right.
These are
These
just
are just
estimates. We don't even have actual formal change orders.
Correct.
So, the next meeting, we would be looking at Michael Carter telling us where the punch list is, and he would be recommending, or you and he would be recommending possible change orders?
Hopefully we have actual change
Yeah,
orders by
yeah.
then. Yeah.
Change orders?
I think Cassidy has to present the change order.
Yes.
And then Mike will sign off on it if he agrees with it, and then it comes to us. So, yeah, it's gotta come out of Cassidy. And then the other one was for asphalt extension.
That's us for a dumpster up there. We'd like to put a dumpster and I'm not comfortable putting it on the lawn, and where they had asphalt coming in to do the roadway for the fire truck, we'd asked if they could put in a pad up there as well to put the dumpster on the buildings 1 through 5 side of Elise.
And he's saying the total's $9,284 and infrared is $2,200, but we've already done infrared?
They've done some infrared already.
Okay, so I guess, are we motioning that we would like, we're not going to sign substantial completion, we would like GCG to be present at our next meeting to go over review the punch list, and we'd like to see completed change orders provided by Cassidy.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Chris Sheedy, a second by Commissioner Tebow. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous. All right, moving on, agenda item number 2, minutes of the January 15th meeting. January 15th, 2019 meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the January 15th, 2019 meeting.
So I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Chris Sheedy, a second by Commissioner Sharp. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's unanimous. Agenda item number 3, February 2019 is tabled. Can we, I just asked about the software, this is where all the crazy stuff was coming
Yeah,
out.
I think we've ironed it all out. We were having a problem this month with the Section 8 run. It was duplicating it, and 2 of the warrants weren't matching up, so I think we've got it under control, and I should have a good warrant for both February and March next month.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding the tabling of the February warrant?
Do you want a motion on that?
I don't,
Do we need to table it? It hasn't really been presented
yeah,
to
it
us.
hasn't been presented. I don't think we need to table it. It's-
No, just
Okay.
that you'll be doing 2 months.
Yes.
All right, agenda item number 4, January 2019 financial statements.
Are they tracking, it looks like you're doing pretty good on net metering credits?
Yes, yeah, I'm doing very well, actually. Yeah, and Cheryl and Dan have been tracking it.
Excuse me. Excellent. I had one question on fence. There's $4,800 worth of fence. Where did that go?
Chandler. That whole fence came down Chandler, it was a wooden fence.
Get around the backside.
Yeah,
Around the-
and we had the privacy
Looks
guard
nice.
put in there. Yeah, it does look very nice.
Who did that?
Hawkeye.
Oh, I remember. No, sure.
Yeah, and it's chain link where the other fence was wood, because there's a lot of wetlands there, so hopefully it'll hold better.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept and place on file the January 2019 financials from Shaw, Robillard, and Milne.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Christian Sheedy, a second by Commissioner Widow. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to, oh, I should get to take a vote, I guess, first. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That is unanimous. Agenda item number 5, contract for financial assistance for June 30th, 2020 to June 30th, 2022 in the amount of $498,437.63.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve contract for financial, for administration, what am I trying to say? Contract for.
Contract for financial assistance?
Thank you, financial assistance. That was the one I was stumbling right over. For a total of, $498,437.63.
Second that motion?
Motion by Commissioner Christian Sheedy, a second by Commissioner Tebow. Any further discussion?
I just want to comment, I've never seen them put the 2 years on one.
Yeah, I know, that was the first time I'd seen that too.
I actually like it, I mean, it shows the, the difference,
The
it was
difference.
increased from 21 to 22.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because they're so behind on a lot of things.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Did I say that?
And
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Dennis,
Thanks.
if you could sign those 2 areas of the mark, please.
Moving on to agenda item number 6, 2019 revised income limits for state aided public housing.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the 2019 revised income limits for state-aided public housing.
And the FMRs? Or you want to do separate?
Yes, yes,
And the new Easton income limits,
It's line 8, it starts with the 50,350.
okay, so for one person, $50,350, for two people, $57,550, three people, $64,750, four persons, $71,900, five persons, $77,700, six people, $83,450, and the last but not least, $89,200. In fair market rents, studio, $1,093, one bedroom is $1,124, two bedroom, $1,487, three bedroom, $2,108, and a four bedroom is $2,202. Those are the new fair market rents for the Easton area.
So, all right, I was signing away. I have a motion by Commissioner.
No, it was wrong.
Commissioner Tebow, a
I just
second.
added it to it. I just read the amounts into.
Who's the second?
I'll second that motion.
Second by Commissioner Widow. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's unanimous. Agenda item number 7, Mass Narrow memo regarding Executive Director contracts legal action.
Well, I can tell you that our budgets were approved, so I don't see that there's any detriment to the housing authority at this time that we would need to follow through. I'm not really sure how anybody else feels on that, though.
No, I agree with you. I've seen the actions. They've said that they won't do things, and then if we don't do certain things,
Mhm.
and now they're approving the budget. But this is for non-housing authority personnel. This is an issue where the state seems to be usurping the role of the boards. And so the Massachusetts National Chapter of
Housing and
Housing and Redevelopment Officials is on behalf of housing authorities saying to the state, look, the local housing authority boards have these authorities, and you cannot, under the law, come in and simply say by notice that you're changing that, you're taking that away. And this is about the executive director's contracts, but they do it on other contracts too. Contracts for, oftentimes we're approving things on contracts for construction and the like where we're being pushed into those. So, but I would agree with you. They've said they're going to harm us, but they have not.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen anything else. Any other commissioners?
they're definitely being a little too forward, and the thought is out there that if we don't start to push back, it's going to continue and it's going to get more difficult, and they are definitely taking responsibilities away from the board and deciding that they need to approve contracts with the executive director, which is 100% the board's responsibility. So there's a lot of authorities who are definitely considering filing suit. They're talking that this could run in the vicinity of $30,000. Potentially, they could get, they think they may have 10 to 15 plaintiffs lined up, kind of talking about anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 per authority to get into this lawsuit. Mass Narrow is also looking to put together a PAC, which is like a contribution fund that will fund legal suits that they take on, such as this. So when I sit at Mass Narrow meetings, the majority of people there are still looking to go forward with this, even though it's looking like there are less impacts from those that don't get involved, that don't provide a contract. My budget also got approved and I don't have a contract. So yeah, I guess it depends if you want to fight the fight, if you want to spend the money, if you want to get involved on principle at this point. That's the way I look at it.
Aren't they also asking to get involved if your authority has been harmed by this?
Correct.
They're asking that, right?
Yes. Is that the criteria? I'm not sure on that. Do you
To be
have to be?
a named plaintiff,
Okay.
you have to have had some sort of a harm.
Okay.
But I think if you want to be part of the suit in general, you don't necessarily have to be harmed. I'm not positive on that.
Okay.
I think there was a page in here that detailed the specifics if you qualify as a
Mhm.
plaintiff. My question is, the letter from KP Law to DHCD was very strong
Mhm.
and right to the point. And I'm curious what, if any, was the response from DHCD, or was there just silence, no response at all?
The final response was never received. There was initial negotiations, and then they just refused to come to the table, refused to answer the letter. They basically said, nope, we're not playing this game.
DHCD's like
Yeah,
clamming up.
exactly. Which is part of the reason we went to the next step, because DHCD is not willing to work with us. And we thought we presented things that were very valid. We obviously have a very good lawyer involved. She's got a lot of experience working with municipalities, with the state. So she wrote a very thorough letter. She made some very reasonable points that needed to be changed in the contract template. And DHCD is not even willing to have a discussion.
I agree. There seem to be some very reasonable things in there, some legitimate questions and some conflicts that need to be resolved, and I don't know why there's no response. So I think that we should monitor it. And remember, this comes out of 2012 when the state DHCD proposed to do away with housing authorities altogether, so this board would not exist. And that was not done, and now it seems as though they're moving in another direction. Okay, the board will stay, but they'll have no authority.
No authority, we'll control everything.
And that's fine, but what's happening in Springfield is different from what's happening in Easton. And
Right.
it's different from West Bridgewater. And that's why you have local boards.
Right.
And we fought long and hard to maintain local authorities and control.
It just makes sense. And what they're doing is vague, it's not thoroughly thought through. I mean, the wording, the DHCD 7A, chapter whatever it is,
121.
Yeah.
121. The wording on it is vague. It is open for debate and question. I mean, it stands to reason that, we were going to, sooner or later it was going to explode in their face anyways.
You would think. But I think they've decided they're going to, push the envelope and, see how far we go with it before we all cave. And there are a lot of authorities who have said, I don't want to jeopardize the budget not being approved. I don't want to jeopardize giving raises to my staff because the budget's not approved, because I refuse to sign a contract. And some people have just gone ahead and signed the contract and have decided, I'm not up for the fight. But there's a lot of others that are exact opposite, that refuse to sign a contract that says that they, as the director, are responsible if there was any health and safety violations at the authority that were not able to be resolved because of the lack of funds. But it was the director's responsibility. So the president of Mass Narrow is adamant about that one. He is, that definitely goes through him sideways.
Definitely.
So I don't know, I hate to commit to anything financially either, because I just feel like it could be a bottomless pit.
Legal things do have a tendency to get drawn out over an extended period of time.
But I also hate to be spineless.
Okay,
I think that this is still playing out, that I don't know if they've identified named plaintiffs. You said that you thought they had a group, that would be good.
They're working through, like, they're going in the deeper dive now to see exactly who's been harmed, what the harms are, and they're putting together the formal complaint, which they believe they're going to have ready to go in May.
And so once that's done, then we could make, if we're not a named plaintiff, and right now I don't think Kathy is under the opinion that we are, you can't point to anything specific according to, but we could then determine whether we want to support the overall effort, because I'm sure at that point at Mass Narrow will be doing other things other than just with the name, doing it as an industry. I'm guessing, I've never been through it before. I know they've done it before, but I think it was back in the early 90s maybe. It was a while ago.
I don't even know if it was Mass Narrow.
Okay.
I think it was Boston, Cambridge, and those authorities took DHCD to court. Yeah, and I think we could potentially maybe wait till April and look at it at the April meeting and see what's come along since then, get an update.
okay.
Might even be interesting to see what the two officials have to say at the annual conference that were invited. The two legislators were invited to speak at the annual conference. I'm anxious to hear what they have to say.
My thought is they won't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
But somebody's bound to ask.
Yeah.
Someone's bound to
And
ask.
they're long-time elected officials. They'll give you a long answer that says,
Yeah,
Nothing.
And sometimes they don't leave opportunities for Q&A.
you know, it's a legal issue, and I would understand why they wouldn't want to step into it at this
Yeah.
time. Hey, well, who knows? Who knows?
But I would hope that we will have some sort of an update for April, and they're hoping to have the complaint filed in May, or ready to be filed in May.
And they'll keep us posted, Mass Narrow?
I would assume
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I think Mass Narrow is doing a fabulous job with their weekend wrap-up.
Oh, I like that,
The
yeah.
weekly update.
Yes.
It
I think
does.
that's great.
Yeah, I do.
But
too.
that's also why we got no March newsletter.
No, because they were working on that?
Well,
I thought
I
they were
went looking
moving.
for it today, I was like, where's the March newsletter? Because I
That's 'cause
usually
they were
provide a
moving them.
copy for my board.
Yeah,
And she's like, we're gonna do a March, April one, because Donna's been doing the weekly update thing, and I was like,
and
okay.
they're moving too from
Yeah.
They are
Boston to
moving.
Denver.
yeah,
They're
they,
moving
I
to
actually
Denver.
ran into Donna Brown at breakfast 2 weekends ago, and they were moving on a Sunday.
Yeah, they're moving, and we can't wait to see it, but supposedly gonna be 100% better than.
Yeah, with that conference area where they can hold trainings and such, which would be nice.
Yeah, and it's a lot less money than the Boston thing.
Yeah, that too.
A lot of saved
That's great.
expenses.
All right, any further discussion? So we're just gonna see what happens?
We can see.
All right, we'll move on to number 9, Civil Rights Certification, HUD 50077.
Did we skip number 8?
Yeah, we skipped 8.
Oh, Executive Director's Report, I saw it. They put that in with the legal action.
Well, and it's also got
The Conequid. Sorry about that. So we're going to agenda item number 8, Executive Director's Report with an update on 26 Conequid Ave.
Over here.
I noticed when I read this that your vacancies are longer than usual, and that's all Champs. And
We've had a lot of transfers too, a lot of first floor transfers going on, which obviously snowballs into another vacancy.
So what can you tell us about 26 Pequonnet?
I did touch base with Paul McCollum. I also we need an updated market analysis on the property, so I got in touch with Meredith Keach, who did it for us last year, and she said she would do it again. The email from Paul is detailing everything that needs to be done, how you go about advertising. I put in the request for quotes, which is in here. It hasn't been approved. I've run it by Paul McCartney first. It's just a rough draft, just so the board could see what it would look like. I need the updated appraisal value of the property to go forward with it. It needs to be advertised. I also have been in touch with the assessor's office to make sure that on any new property that we purchase, we'd still be able to have an in lieu of taxes agreement with the town if they'd still consider that. My understanding is that we don't have any agreement with the town for any of our family properties. We pay in lieu of taxes on Pequonnet right now. Dan Robillard usually figures it out, but I guess the town had a flood many years ago, a lot of documents got lost. So I haven't heard back from the assessors on that yet either. I was hoping to get if we had any copies of one. So we're just starting the process. I've also been looking at the real estate market, and there is a two-family for sale right on Main Street, kind of set back, and I didn't know if it would even behoove me to go and take a look at it or not. It is a possibility that if we found a two-family, that for the same price, from what Paul had said, just in conversation, we may be able to have 275s. Add to it as long as it doesn't add to capital needs, let's say, in the end. So, but that might be gone by the time this whole process is done. But I am working on it very diligently.
Right.
And as soon as Meredith gets back to me, I'll be able to go a little quicker on the request for quotes. We can put it out there and we can get moving on that.
So this is the old estimate.
This is from the assessor's office.
Oh, this is the.
That's the assessors, that's the, from the town's website.
Okay.
And they have it assessed at more than what the appraisal came in at. If
Yeah,
you
it's
noticed
at
on it, it's 297 and the old appraisal was 237, so. And there are a lot of properties out there right now in the 350s. Which
Yes,
would be
we've
good.
seen a lot.
Yeah, and some that are in, there's one in particular, it's in great condition, so. But there's no real action to be taken, I just wanted the board to be informed as to what we have to, as far as that goes.
Have
Right.
you-
If you need us to do anything before the April meeting,
Yep.
to get
Oh,
it
absolutely,
in fast forward, let us know.
absolutely.
Have you talked to the people in Ludlow at all? Do you know? who-
Yes, I did talk to the director there. Theirs is entirely different, they're selling 4 homes.
Mhm.
And she sold 2, she said it was a lot of work, but they have sold 2, and depending on how that goes, they're gonna sell the other 2.
Okay.
She also said they hired an attorney. I said, would the attorney come out this way? She said no. So she did advise that. So once we get going, I mean, Paul McPartland's very good. He is an attorney. I'd have him review anything and work off of whatever he recommends us to do.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he's very good.
I didn't know he was an attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is an attorney.
Mhm.
Going back to your minutes, you mentioned here that you met with Representative Cronin, and I was wondering, can you tell us what type of project is in the works for Elisa?
Actually, she called me the other day. Yes, we thought maybe doing over that community room would be a good idea. New flooring, new furniture, new TV, maybe revamp the kitchen. It's a small kitchen to begin with. And then she called me and said, okay, I want more ideas because I want more money. And I said, okay, how about a new gazebo as well and new benches up at Lee Circle? So right now, that's what she's going to submit on her budget. And she'll let me know if it comes through or not.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I think it's great of her.
Yes. Yes. I'll just read it. This is from the Executive Director's report. I also spoke with Representative Claire Cronin, and she would like to put together a project for Elise Circle that she would like to sponsor. I will be speaking with her very soon and let you know. That's what this was about.
Very good of her.
Yes.
Yeah. Any further questions or comments for the director?
Yeah. I don't think Dawn got enough credit for what she did for this man that passed away. I think should have got a lot more credit for what she did for that man.
The veteran.
Yes.
That's nice to know.
Yeah, she wanted.
She did a lot.
She did.
Talk about
Absolutely.
Don Doyle.
Yes.
She helped him out more often than not.
If you could pass along appreciation to
Absolutely, I
to
have,
Dawn,
I have many times.
Unanimous
Yes.
from the board. would
Yes,
say.
I will do that, absolutely. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Anything further?
So, I'm sorry, did Ludlow actually hire their own attorney?
Yes. I don't know what he charged or any of that.
And has Paul suggested that we have our own?
He has not. I haven't even asked him that question. That's something, I talked to them, I talked to Paul, I talked to them. So that's something I will discuss with him afterwards. After I get the appraised value, and then I'll put forward the quote for him to look over and see what he advises to do at that point.
Yeah, because I think we're gonna have to have representation when
Oh,
we
yeah.
get into like closings and things like that.
I would agree.
So,
Do we have to get a quote from an attorney is another question, I don't know.
no.
Attorneys are exempt from chapter
Okay, I
30B.
wasn't-
You have to find
But,
some-
yeah, you need somebody who's
A real estate attorney.
preferably,
Oh,
but somebody
real
who's got
estate.
municipality
Yeah.
real estate.
And Paul might have some recommendations, I don't know.
Oh, very local.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could even, maybe Copeland and Page could make a recommendation, because they're very strong
okay.
municipal
That's a
law.
great idea.
Although they probably would just say, hire us.
Anything else? We'll move along to agenda item number 9. Now we're at civil rights certification.
Do you need this read into the minutes? So I make a motion that we approve the, it's the submission of the plan, right?
Yes.
So is the plan going in, or is this just?
No, we have to do it every year now. We don't submit every year.
Right, so this, we're just doing a certification.
Certification that we're
And
operating
res-
under the civil rights and under the guidelines of our PHA plan.
Okay,
So moved.
second?
Motion by Commissioner Chris Anshidi, a second by Commissioner Tebow. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Can you sign that, please?
That is unanimous. And we're up to agenda item number 10, resident questions and comments. It's your turn. Yes, ma'am.
How do we go about putting together a tenants association that was brought up last time when I was here?
I think Kathy can give you all the guidelines on a formal tenants association. If you are going to look to do the formal one, it needs, there's quite a bit of organizational work that goes with it. If you're going to do purely a social organization, it's a lot looser. But if you want a formal tenants organization, you have to put together a budget, you have to have elections and offices, you have to, bylaws. There's a lot to it, but I know Kathy can probably print you out the requirements if you
What
want.
would be the easiest way then to get people, say, together that would like to see different things happen here at
Well-
this community?
They can always come to a board meeting, they can
Yeah.
always talk to Kathy, they can put it in writing if they'd like, if that's easier. If you want to have just a regular meeting of folks and make it very informal, you could do something such as that. If you want a formal tenants organization, it has different requirements.
Yeah, I don't think that would be appropriate for the people I've spoken to. It's nothing really big. It's just that we'd like to have a say in the property around here and what would make us feel more comfortable.
Well, you could probably put a list together and bring it into Kathy and she can take a look at it. And she also does a formula funding meeting every year that you're all invited to attend, where she reviews the projects that are going to be considered for capital improvement. So that is something you can also be involved with, which we would do that.
In the fall now.
In the fall.
we used to do.
So she does that once a year because she has to submit a very formal capital improvement project list.
Mm-hmm.
And that meeting's always posted and tenants are invited to come to that.
Okay, one other question, and I guess I'll give it to you, Kathy. Has the maintenance people and you gotten together about the bushes they talked about that would attract birds and help them eat?
We have not gotten into that. It hasn't even crossed our path right now. They've been pretty busy this year.
Oh, I can see that. But I was just wondering about that, because soon we're gonna have spring, things like that.
One of the things I can mention, I was thinking when Commissioner Sheedy was speaking, a lot of tenants groups, and that's what they are, groups, they sometimes call themselves clubs, start off with sometimes playing games, and there'll be a club. Often it's a garden club, so that's people get together and do a beautification or a planting. We can certainly assist, if you need. I'm sure the housing authority could find a couple dollars to buy plants if a garden club wanted to do something like that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I would think the Easton Garden Club would be interested in those kind of projects. I belong to Bridgewater Garden Club, and we do a lot of different things like that for Bridgewater. So Easton's got their own garden club, so I would think
They have a
they
very
could.
good garden club.
Yeah, right, I've been to different things with them. I would think they'd be interested in maybe, and that would be a good project for them.
I can contact them.
Yeah, and they would work with the residents, any
Right.
residents would be wanting to be involved.
Yeah.
Oh, great
Also,
idea.
Beth, anytime you want to get together with a group of residents, you're more than welcome to have it in this community room. Obviously, they have the Meals on Wheels in the morning, every day, and they're usually here till about 1. Monday afternoons, they do bingo. Everybody comes over for bingo. Other than that, just let us know and we'll make sure that the room's available for you. You guys can meet in here whenever you want.
Oh, good.
I mean,
That
this is
sounds
your
great.
community room. It's free to you, as long as there's not other things that normally go on here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I can understand that.
Yeah, but the knitting club meets here on Tuesdays, so there is a lot of things already going on.
Yeah. I'm more of an outdoor person. I do like knitting sometimes. but Thank you. And
Welcome.
thank you for the suggestions.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anything? No? Next meeting date, looking at April 9th. Will be the second Tuesday.
April 9th.
Sounds good to me.
John, you available? Oh, okay.
You got the nod.
Pam, that okay?
That works fine?
Who's putting it in, so that's good.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, did you ask me, you're speaking into my bad ear. I'm sorry, yes,
Do we want to, I don't know, Kathy and I were kind of doing a little chit chatting about laundry rates. I don't know.
Yeah, I can put that on the agenda.
If you could put that on the agenda,
Will do.
and executive directors finally,
The contract.
no, not the contract, the evaluations.
Oh, yeah, evaluation, yes. That's months overdue.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion that we adjourn.
Second that motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.